Look out, it's the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Okay, sometimes you go over the top rope and you bang your head on the ring apron. Don't do that. That's when you feel like a big dope. Because they're the worst bumps you can be taking. Oh, it's the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Sometimes you reach out for the hot tag, but then you go ahead and make your own comeback. Knock it off. That's when you should quit wrestling. And you're better off rolling in thumbtacks. AEW. The hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Sometimes you're distracting the referee, and the babyface has your wrestler pinned. Then you get punched to the ring apron, and you realize all the trouble you're in when it's the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Now double claps. It's SummerSlam, Bob Squad, the biggest party of the summer in my living room. The hardest part of the ring, the hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da. Whoa, yay! We are bushwhacking our way through the first of 4 hardest parts of the ring in a row. What do you say? What do you know? Tip the wheel, try the waitress. What's going on, Bob Squad? I just watched SummerSlam. SummerSlam ended 6 minutes ago at the time of this recording. I want to get these out as quickly as I can because I have a funny feeling Sunday and Monday are going to be withheld a bit. So let's jump into this bad boy. Let's cover this up top. You can't not talk about CM Punk and Chicago and AEW. Really, it's. Let me slow down. Let's start from the beginning here. If you're not familiar, CM Punk, after 7.5 years of not being in a wrestling company, 2 UFC matches and some movies and this, that, and the other thing, and even a few months on one of those backstage talk shows in WWE land. What was that, late 2019, I want to say? How'd that work? I don't think that worked that well. He was technically working for Fox. That was the thing, I guess. Oh, whatever. After his disappearance and his absence, his myth grew in absence, I believe, and I'm a big fan of him. I loved the 2011 CM Punk, and I loved him in 2012 and most of 2013. And honestly, I think that second half of 2013, it was really most of 2013. It was still kind of, I was trying to still like it, but you can tell like the bloom was off the rose, and through no fault of his own. It just wasn't, the feeling wasn't there, but whatever. He grew sick of it, he left, yada, yada, yada. So he returns, and he comes back to AEW at Chicago. They open the show. A lot of positives here. First of all, they never flat out said, see, we're going to open a show with CM Punk entering. They make it, they put the camera on tons of fans with shirts and signs that say CM Punk, and make it as obvious as you possibly can. You're going to see CM Punk in a couple of seconds. Do not change the channel. That's brilliant thing number 1. Brilliant thing number 2. Well, look at me praising AEW here. Jim Ross and Taz and Mark Henry and an idiot in a mask who, honestly, I'm sorry, and embarrasses all of them when they're on camera together. Get rid of him or take his mask off. I don't care how ugly he is. It ain't a beauty contest. Just, it looks bombastic, and it makes it look, Excalibur announcing in a mask makes it look like whenever a sitcom tries to imitate what they think pro wrestling is, because they don't actually watch it, so they think the announcers have wacky costumes too. Because they saw, probably once in the 80s, they saw Jesse the Body Ventura and go, oh, they all dress like that. And it just looks bombastic. But anyway, after the announcer said, okay, let's start the show. Jim Ross says something, the other 3 say something, Ross says something again, and they don't say a damn word the whole time. You forget they're there. That was brilliant thing number 2. Brilliant thing number 3, CM Punk, I'll take his word for it, says he scripted nothing. I just wanted to feel it. And I believed every word he said. I mean, I know the guy can talk. So I'll take his word for it. Maybe he had a bullet point or 2. I don't really know. But it didn't sound like it. If that's what's important anyway. Doesn't really matter. But I'll take his word for it. He mentioned Britt Baker first. Like, it was like, so you could tell that was a little like off the cuff. Like, okay. But he gave a huge rub to Darby Allin. That was brilliant thing number 3, the rubs to the other people. Like, okay, cool. There's a lot going on. I've seen many clips. I think there's like a 17-minute version, so maybe I missed some of it. But generally, I don't need to tell you what he said. He pretty much said he's back to wrestling and give back and wrestling. Really simple stuff, but it was just so powerful. And my biggest observation to this was before we get into, is it going to compete with WWE? Is it going to? Before we get into how it relates to WWE, and maybe that's the problem. Stop thinking about how everything relates to WWE. Before we get into that, I don't know how deeply I really want to get into it because SummerSlam was really long. As a wrestling fan, straight from May of '89 to this recording, I have not had this feeling since Hulk Hogan in '94 debuting against Ric Flair with Jimmy Hart and Mr. T and Shaq and probably 14 other people I can't remember and all this, and having that feeling. Well, they did a parade first or whatever. Having that feeling that an entire company was just elevated by the newest arrival being the biggest star on day one. I guess the announcement, it was like, I think it was like a Steve Austin Ricky Steamboat match, and they had like a scroll at the bottom of like a Spring Stampede pay-per-view in '94, something like that. Historians out there, help me out, but I think I'm right. I want to say it would have had to be like March or April of '94, because June was Bash at the Beach. Let's say it's April of '94. Yeah, I think it was a scroll, like Hulk Hogan, big announcement, and I think it would have been Shivani and Heenan probably on commentary. I'll have to find that. No, I don't have to find that. That's a waste of my fucking time. I'm an old man now. I have better things. But, but I haven't had that feeling since. That's what I was thinking about during watching most of this. So I'm really happy for CM Punk. I'm happy for AEW, if you could believe that, because I have a lot of problems with AEW. Most of my problems are Omega Bucks and Cody related, and I think that's an inevitable thing that's just going to be in the way. I don't know. I want to leave Daniel Bryan's or Bryan Danielson's name out of this because it's just too complex, and who knows when or if whatever he does happens, and I wouldn't do it anytime soon because the sooner he shows up, the worse it is for him and Punk, honestly. So if whatever he's doing, I would hit the brakes on that. But do it, sign him, but why don't you just give him an extra couple of months to sit at home and train and be healthy, or whatever. Separate these, Jesus Christ. It'll be interesting to see what the comparison of the ratings are. And yes, I know he was in Chicago, and they're going to give him extra love. Would it have been as thunderous in New York City or L.A. or Pittsburgh? Maybe not quite as much, but it still would have been pretty damn impressive. This to me clearly is the biggest, most historic moment of AEW history to date. It was important. A lot of people are saying the same thing. He made me love pro wrestling again. I hope that happens, because I saw 2 cases of pro wrestling on SummerSlam, and I want to say as many good things about them as I can. You could already guess. So, what does this mean? Like, relating to WWE, which I hate to, again, you shouldn't do because it's not good. Well, let's hold off on that again. Okay, so AEW. Does this make AEW fans love AEW even more, which is great, but not really profitable? Or does it turn new eyeballs to the show? I'm gonna tell you honestly, I think my limitation to watching whatever wrestling shows I can on Hulu probably stopped me from checking out too much AEW. But if I had a TV and AEW was on free TV, I would have watched it. I would have. But I've watched the whole show? No. I would have watched it in probably a segment or two afterwards and seen how I felt. Or if there was something they teased for later that really was done well. I guarantee it is. What was on AEW the week before? Omega loses to Christian. He loses 2 of his literal belts, the TNA and Impact thingies. And I guess Christian's a segment, he retired one, whatever. I like Christian just fine. I don't give a fuck. I wouldn't have watched it. I saw the end of a clip of the finish of that, and thought, oh, okay, so Omega, I knew it. Once he starts losing those things, no one's gonna beat him. They're all gonna be fuck finishes. And why beat him before Punk shows up? I don't know, whatever. And I think in the Andrade thing, Andrade was going to win, and then there's Ric Flair and shows up in Mexico to chop Conan, and Ric Flair and Andrade do figure fours to Conan and Omega, blah 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 blah. Omega, I think, sells so cartoony that he actually hurts his babyface. I know sometimes heels have to sell a little funnier, but to a point where he's selling like look at me, look at me, I'm selling wrestling. Like anti-comedy stand-up comedy. Those what alt comedy, which is bad enough, evolved into was anti-comedy comedy in New York, in Brooklyn, and it was just we don't know how to do it, so we're just going to go and make fun of stand-up comedy. But here's the problem: if you advertise a stand-up comedy show and people went there to see stand-up comedy, and you go up there and all you can do is say stand-up comedy is stupid, then you just told your audience they're stupid, right? So with anti-wrestling wrestling, which is kind of what the Bucks and Omega do, you're just telling all your wrestling fan audiences that the thing you like is stupid, and you should praise me for making fun of it. You shouldn't proudly have a book called Killing the Business, you assholes. I'm talking about the Young Bucks, the tag team there. So, and they sell nothing. All their strikes, all the three of these guys, their strikes all look like shit. They don't. It's just bad. They're very. They're physically fit acrobats, and congratulations. I can't move. I'm close to their age, and I'm not moving like that. Fair, you got me. I tried. I had my day. I had my day in the sun. My day is over. Wasn't gonna happen. So congratulations to CM Punk. This is the best way to sum it up is this is the most I've ever believed that AEW is actually a game changer. Because I've heard it 900 times. Every stupid thing they do. They got Jon Moxley. Cool. Even Chris Jericho is a big deal. Their opening star to get those eyeballs on it. I mean, Cody Rhodes is coming out. He's really popular. Yeah, those are all good bullet points. And they got all these we got these great wrestlers, that mainstream eyeballs don't really know of, like Pac, and they're gonna try to make a star with Adam Page and make a star with MJF, and they never really do. Darby Allin, Sting with Darby Allin. Those are eyebrow raising things. I wouldn't call anything other than Punk arriving a game changing moment. Hey, a wrestling fan, especially an Attitude Era wrestling fan who fell out of it, like so many have, is going to go, oh, cool, hey, look, Big Show. Oh, let me see what he's doing. He's announcing. All right, whatever. Mark Henry, oh, yeah, cool. Oh, I remember Matt Hardy. I remember Christian Cage. Oh, Sting. I remember Sting when I was a kid. Did I leave any out? Oh, yeah, they have Jake the Snake Roberts and Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson hanging out, doing nothing for your older fans. Like, I'm 41. I grew up with those guys. I can't, Attitude Era was all like college for me, so it's different. But still, the only real game changer moment, even if they got Ric Flair, and they'll probably get Foley. I mean, God knows Foley's daughter and her stupid clown boyfriend can't stop showing their faces and getting attention for having no skills whatsoever on TV all the time. Hey, Bob, why'd you say that? They annoy me, particularly him, but they both kind of annoy me, quite frankly. Even getting Ric Flair. Love Ric. He's Ric Flair, for fuck's sake. But Ric Flair's also in car rental commercials and whatever the hell, and rap videos and visiting sports teams. Ric Flair is like he's a legend, but he's kind of like a living mascot in a way, which I hate. I don't really mean that in a bad way. Mascot's a bad word, but he's definitely a symbol of something. I don't really know what. It's like when the mayor gives you the key to a city, and it's a big giant key. It's not an actual key. There's no giant keyhole, but it's this big physical object, and it's really amazing, and that's what Ric Flair is. But I have said nothing about SummerSlam for 14 and a half minutes. I'm sorry. CM Punk arriving, that was the only real moment, but a very real moment that felt like a game-changing night for AEW. So if you guys, AEW, if you're going to do pro wrestling with pro wrestlers, if you're going to have Brian later, if you're going to get Bray later, I don't know, I have no idea, and use Punk and all these wrestlers to interact with all these younger wrestlers and have great matches and moments and big fight feel things that we want to see. And you grow as an audience and not just continue to pander to the same audience, but actually grow as an audience to get new eyeballs on it and don't divide old school AEW fans from like a year and a half ago, which is silly, versus now. Or they're all, because I know it's going to happen. There's going to be new eyeballs, and then they're going to, oh, the bandwagon people are here because Punk's here. Don't do that bullshit. You're not old enough to have old school fans. You just started. So don't do that bullshit. Okay? Big night. Let's move on to SummerSlam, because SummerSlam was not the talk, did not feel like the talk of the wrestling world even today. Weird to have a pay-per-view on a Saturday. I just figured that out like 5 days ago. All I could tell on a pre-show was maybe I missed a match or two, but I know that Baron Corbin lost to Big E, and Big E got his briefcase back. Very good. Uh, but judging by the star power that ended up involved in the main event, Big E is he's going to be carrying that damn thing on a lot of airplanes for a long time, it looks like. Okay, let's move on. We did the pre-show. They did the thing that I hate, where they say what the opening match is. This usually I complain that these pay-per-views they have this very offensive long package that we basically just saw for the last hour of a pre-show, and I get very mad because then you're 10, 12 minutes in a pay-per-view and you're still watching the matches hyped up. Like, no, it started. This was 5 or 6 minutes long, which is still insulting, but not only half as insulting as it usually is. So I kind of forgave it, which is sad. We start off with the tag team match. Oh, I gotta flip some pages here. The Raw Tag Team match, Tag Team Championship, RK Bro, Riddle and Orton versus Omos and AJ, and we find it. Long package. I want to make this note now, because this is throughout the whole night. I'm not that funny tonight, guys. I'm sorry. I want to actually contribute this time. What the fuck is going on outside? Jesus. Okay, never mind. Sorry. Somebody's recycling all their bottles right now outside my head there. The entrance to this arena is the Allegiant Stadium. It's in Las Vegas, Nevada, where there's gambling and prostitution is legal. I don't know why I brought that up. The entrance aisle is really long, so these freakishly long entrances are double freakishly long. It's insulting. It's bad, and it wouldn't be bad if they didn't have a package. Again, we don't need these packages at the pay-per-view. We're here. We should know all the storylines by now, and that is exactly what the pre-show is for, to tell you why. But they insist. Because then they got to watch Randy Orton. He can get away with the slow walk to the ring. But if everyone walks to the ring, they look silly running and jogging to the ring or whatever. But if everyone takes their time getting to that ring, then they stand in the ring, and then we have to see a package. And then, oh, God. This was a 4-hour and 15-minute show. And I'm curious to know what it is without entrances. What is it in match time? And I bet you it's less than half that. Gotta be. Because there were commercials, there were a lot of things. Okay. So, and now I'm guilty because I'm wasting time as well. Let's see what we can do. This was smart. The first person to enter was Riddle with the bro sound for his music. Again, if we didn't tell the audience with all these packages and on Peacock with the announcers saying, hey, this is the first match, if we just let it be silent for a couple of seconds and then hit the bro, it would be even louder. I promise you that, because it used to be. Because they don't know what's coming, what's happening. It's, oh my God, it's show starting. Hold your breath, gasp. Bro, oh, it's Riddle, that's our guy, we like him, blah, 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 blah. Orton, and this made sense, Riddle half enters and waits for Orton. I really think the volume would have been twice as loud for Randy Orton if he came out on a scooter as well. I know that looks preposterous, but is it any more preposterous than anything else that happens on this program? Because after this, we have a CGI winking doll. So Randy Orton on a scooter is not that stupid. Lost opportunity, but I hope it happens because people will lose their shit. Long Isle, I'm a fucking recap. I wrote fucking recap in the notes, so you can tell how much I love those. AJ and Omos wrestle. Randy Orton and Riddle. This match, I'm gonna give it 5 stars. Now it wasn't. It was a bit of a letdown. It wasn't. you've only really got three guys who can work, two amazing workers in there. Riddle, a very, very good worker, and an amazing athlete, but a good worker, but not amazing worker like AJ or Randy Orton. And Omos is there. Sorry, he's not working anything. He's not pulling much either. What's happening? So they have the best match they can with really AJ versus, and Omos is there when he's there, which is understandable. Riddle does get kind of a choke slam on the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. If you didn't know. And it ends a little flat, just not out of nowhere, but Randy and AJ are just kind of going to a finish, and it looks like they just started going to a finish, but then it's RKO and 1, 2, 3, and RK Bro are the tag champs, and that's really it. So, interesting to see where that goes, I guess. I imagine AJ and Omos aren't doing too much more together. This whole story is really about. It felt like this match is just get the things on Randy and Riddle and move on. Okay, we got to move on to. We have commercials. Oh my god! Yeah, I'm not going to rant about commercials during a pay per view. This really felt like a 4.5 hour Raw, and commercials don't help. They're selling 50 John Cena NFTs. It's like a non fungible, like a cryptocurrency. I don't fucking think. So they said they're dropping 50 John Cena NFTs, and they're also dropping one NXT. Haha, LOL. Then Charlotte is in a Credit One Visa commercial, and then there's an AutoZone commercial, and then we got a recap Raw Fair. Dewdrop, Alexa, Eva Marie, the CGI doll. None of this made Raw, and none of this made Hulu Raw on the hardest part of the ring, and it wasn't hard to catch up. I understood it to the best of to whatever level it's supposed to be understood. Alexa and Evil have this. Well, I mean, it wasn't even a wrestling match, so what's the point? They give it 5 stars. But they had the doll. I mean, Eva's done so much nothing. We don't know why she's there. She picks up the doll and slaps slaps Alexa with the doll, and then Alexa does the scream and beats her up a DDT, I think, 1, 2, 3, something like that. And I laughed out loud when they did a recap of all the stupid shit they did with Lily the doll, and they showed the clip of Dewdrop looking at the doll in front of a live crowd, and then the extreme close up of the doll with a CGI wink of the doll, and the audience in the background that is suddenly not moving for a second. The phoniness of that. Guys, they just got CM Punk. What are you doing? Better be selling a shitload of those things. I understand it's merch, but unless you're selling 1 million of the damn things, they ain't saying that selling $1 million, but they'll sell some. But I don't know. When Alexa made her entrance, I couldn't tell if that was a big, like, inflatable blow-up Lily or just a CGI graphic they put on the screen, and my eyeballs couldn't decipher, which is weird. So I actually LOL'd at the end of this match. Oh wait, no, let's stop. After the doll trading, slapping with the doll nonsense, Alexa does her scream, and Alexa runs at Eva, and I think Eva did a phantom bump. I think it was one of those things where Alexa runs at Eva, and maybe like Eva was supposed to throw a clothesline or something, throw a line, and Alexa but Eva bumped as though she was clothesline because like she took like 2 lines after that, which is why I think that she just forgot to throw the line and take a few, and she forgot to throw the line and start feeding, and she just started feeding. So it was like Alexa ran it, Eva ducked down, and and you could hear the boos, like the obvious jeers of the people, which is why I think that's what happened. That's my guess. If I'm wrong, well, fuck me. No one's listening to this. Anyway, I LOL'd out loud. I couldn't even believe it at the end of this match where Dewdrop took the microphone and said, and the loser of the match is, and Eva Marie, she imitates. But then Dewdrop puts the. It's so childish. They have the baby faces act like 6-year-olds. Like Eva puts the robe on and struts around and pretends to be Eva Marie, and it's supposed to be funny, but Dewdrop should kick her ass. She got slapped in the face twice, according to this recap I had to watch too many times. So Dewdrop should just beat her ass. Or hit her with a thing. Or slap her, which is an eye for an eye. Why is she acting like a first grader? I don't fucking know. It's kind of insulting because it's like it's almost like they're telling us the gimmick is Dewdrop thinks she's sexy, which is kind of mean. You know what I'm saying? Oh, look, she thinks she's hot, like Eva Marie. She's strutting around the robe, like that's the joke. Like, that's kind of not cool. I think they think they're being cool, but they're actually not. But it was nice to see Dewdrop sort of stand up for herself. It wasn't. I don't know, but AC Slater shows up from Saved by the Bell, and he says the three letters WWF, which was hilarious. He's wearing a 1997 SummerSlam shirt, also hilarious, and talks to RK Bro. And Randy Orton says three most destructive letters in reference to his RKO, but it sounds like the three most destructive letters were actually WWF, because you can't say that shit. Damian Priest wrestled Sheamus for the U.S. Championship. I'll give these guys credit. The crowd was out. They were dead already because they just saw whatever the hell they just saw. And Sheamus can work. They were starting to get the crowd back. I like both these guys as wrestlers. Why didn't I care about this match? Maybe because the live crowd didn't care. But maybe also just because there wasn't much of a story here. We have a babyface saying he's anti-bullying, but all he does is bully, and he sounds dorky saying it. But he's a cool-looking guy and should never come off as dorky. So it didn't exact, but they were trying to win him back, and they did. The crowd did come back for the finishes. It was a hard job. It was not a pleasant spot. I don't envy them. Priest goes over 1-2-3, new U.S. champ. Not a good day for the champion so far. We have a commercial for DraftKings. That's right, gambling. We want you to gamble on the product that we write, control, and change at the last minute. That sounds like a good idea. Rey Mysterio and Dominic are backstage. Dominic says he's sorry because he never listens. And I'm sorry for a lot of other reasons. They wrestle the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Pat McAfee said the Savage Usos? That's racist. Dominic does the Eddie Guerrero shimmy, which is hilarious because 16 SummerSlams ago, Eddie Guerrero tried to steal him. Both the Usos have dyed their hair red, so we can tell them apart. The Usos went over clean and sober. No, they did not. They 1-2-3 with a splash on Rey Mysterio. Usos are still retaining things. Okay, somebody named Tiffany Haddish, who's famous for something, called Damian Priest. She said he's the first-time national champion. Close enough. And he ends the promo by saying he's the U.S. champion. Rick Boogs plays the guitar, rock and roll with Nakamura. I used to get really mad that Pat McAfee, I thought he was ruining these segments up top. But since it's irritating Michael Cole, I like Michael Cole, actually. A lot of people give him shit. I think he's actually really good at his job. Poor guy, he gets a lot of shit. I think it was just he had a lot of he's not JR hate, and it just never went away for some people who are stuck in their ways. But poor Michael Cole, man. He's got 18 jobs to do at the same time. Leave the fucking guy alone. Anyway, Nakamura just comes out. I thought he was wrestling a match. No, he just came out to have Pat McAfee dance and shake around and shimmy. Okie dokie, let's get to this. SmackDown Women's Championship. Bianca Belair is here. No Sasha Banks. We have no idea why she's not there. Oh, come on, it's obvious. All right. Bet she wishes she took the fucking needle now, huh? Okay, enough, Bob. Her replacement is Carmella, LOL. I don't like to go off on this tangent about the women because I think it's just not a good look to have this be the thing you say about women on your wrestling podcast. I have to break my rule. Carmella is abnormally hot. Like, it shouldn't be allowed. Why is she that hot? Like, what are you doing? There should be limits on how hot you're allowed to be, and I don't know what the limit is, but Carmella has driven past the speed limit of hotness. Please stop. You shouldn't be that hot. We can't. You're ruining everything, Carmella. And then she's funny too, and she's charismatic. Like, I like the laugh. It makes me laugh. She's got that leopard skin, like Peg Bundy. I'm too hot for the room type of attitude, but she's abnormally hot anyway. I think she's a better. I don't know if she's a better baby face, but I enjoy her more as a baby face. It's hard to boo her when she's that hot. I don't know. Yeah, her 2018 stuff, I thought, or 2017 to 2018, whenever she had the briefcase and she had the year with the Ellsworth guy who ended up showing his wiener to teenagers. Maybe I didn't need to bring that up. Anyway, This came out of nowhere because I think everybody was. I'm sorry, no disrespect to the women, but everybody was about to take a piss break. Not because it was two women wrestling, but because they thought they were getting this epic WrestleMania rematch, and they weren't. And Carmella hasn't been featured as a top player for a while, so that's why I think people were taking a piss break. Just to clarify that. And I hope they didn't. I hope they weren't pissing out of their dicks or urethras or vaginas because Becky Lynch returns. Holy balls! And it was a lot of whoa for several minutes. She's there. The aisle is long. Becky's there. Looks fantastic. Everyone goes bananas. This is a very long segment with a very short match, quote unquote, in the middle. So let me just fast forward this. Cheering, everyone going bananas. It was kind of like an answer at the time. It felt like an answer to yesterday's CM Punk. Everyone's going crazy for Becky, which is good. It got to happen in front of a live crowd. It got to be real. I love it. No complaints here. I thought it was very real. Really woke me up too. And again, no one saw it coming. They thought they were going to see Bianca just beat Carmella in 4 minutes and move on. That's what they thought they were going to see. That's what I thought we were going to see, and I think most people were under the same impression. The Becky return thing has always been a thing. Everyone says it's about to happen, but it just never does. And anyway, Becky beats up Carmella, which you can see coming. This as soon as Becky's halfway down the aisle, you should know Carmella and Bianca Belair are not about to have a match. You can kind of see what's coming here. We're doing the rules where if you get beat up, someone takes your spot, whether it's a contract or a match or Royal Rumble, etc. Becky throws Carmella around on the outside, beats her up, throws in a stare, something, something, something. And then Becky says, hey, why don't we have a match right now for the championship? Bianca nods, yes, yada, yada, yada. So it's Becky, Bianca, dream match, pretty much, dream match. And the announcers didn't mention this, I don't think, but I was thinking if I was on a headset, I would make a point right now to say these are the only two women to win a WrestleMania main event face to face, and we have it here right now. Because that to me is a cool selling point. Only two women have won a WrestleMania main event. And here they are face to face. While the concept of women main eventing WrestleMania is still relatively fresh, why not take advantage of the only two we have right now? One on one. Big fight feel, right? I mean, if they didn't do what they just did, I'd main event a goddamn pay-per-view with Becky Lynch. I'd main event Survivor Series with Bianca and Lynch or something like that. I don't know. One of those. Not Saudi. That doesn't count. Okay. No one should be going there. I don't care, I said. What happens? Oh, yeah. So we ring the bell. Becky, and again, gotta be careful. There's a problem with baby faces no longer acting like baby faces, and then somebody or some bodies, I don't know, wink, wink, somebody doesn't understand. Baby faces have to have some kind of moral character. I just watched Batman Returns on a Beachtown comedy podcast, and I made the point to my co-host Jesse Egan is that he said, well, since Batman is barely in Batman Returns, should it just be a Catwoman, Penguin, Christopher Walken movie? And I said, yes, it could, but well, first of all, you don't have Batman for the big draw to get the box office, but let's say you take the money out of the equation. Catwoman's morals would have to change. She couldn't be a super anti-hero like Deadly Vigilante because somebody has to have the best moral character in the movie. Catwoman was allowed to be how she was in that movie because Penguin's very bad and Walken's very bad and Batman's very good, so Catwoman is allowed to walk the line. But if it was Penguin, Walken, and Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, Catwoman has to be the most virtuous person here because we need to have a hero. Becky Lynch, on her big return, goes to shake the hand of a character that, as far as we are concerned, has upstanding moral characteristics. Bianca Belair does not cheat. She is athletic. She works hard. She sometimes we know she's married to Montez Ford. It has really nothing to do with her character, and they are somewhat religious folk, which is their business. But I only say that because they bring it up sometimes on social media, and there's documentaries too. And that's fine if that's your thing. But I'm just saying the point is there's a certain set of rules that they hold themselves by, and as far as we are known to believe, Bianca is a very good person. on this program, and probably is a very good person. I don't know her, but I'm taking a good guess. In good faith, she's a very good person. Becky, as far as is also a very good person. She goes to shake Bianca's hand. Bianca takes it. Goes to take the hand. Becky cheap shots her. The bell is already rung. Hits a move, which is more or less a rock bottom. They called it the manhandle slam, which is fine. Whatever. Hits her with a move. Couldn't have been 10, 12, whatever seconds. 1, 2, 3. Becky wins. And I saw, if you go on Twitter or Instagram, and not that they care what the fans think, but everyone's saying the same thing. Becky, we love you. We're so happy you're back. Congratulations. But there's so many buts. There's butts everywhere. More butts than I saw when I did stand-up comedy for that burlesque show 7 days ago. There's so many butts. But they really cheated Bianca. It was kind of disrespectful to Bianca. Why would they treat Bianca like that? Yeah. And even if you don't care about Bianca, you just had her win one of the WrestleMania's 2 nights, but she more or less won a WrestleMania main event, no? She did. Bianca just won a WrestleMania main event. Now she's losing her championship to someone who's hasn't wrestled in a year and a half in 10 seconds, whatever the hell it was. It's not good. CM Punk is coming. Guys, I hope the audio is cool. Stay with me. Don't go anywhere. I need to turn my fan on because I'm sweating bullets in this room. So that's going to be too loud. It's going to be too loud. Stay with me, Bob Squad. Let me open this window and yeah, you're going to hear that a little bit. No, that's also too loud. Okay, I'll tough it out. No, you're never going to. That's going to sound like shit. Do the best I can, guys. Why? Why are we doing that? Everyone, there's really nothing I could add. Why would you do it to Bianca? Happy to see Becky. Great she's back. I texted a friend of mine. I said they're going to be happy to see Becky for a few weeks or a month, maybe 2 months, but they're going to turn on her. And then I look on the interwebs, and it took seconds. It took minutes before everyone was like, yay, but why? It didn't feel right. Once again, it's like the biggest heel in the company is the company. WWE is the biggest heel in WWE. Saying that for a while. I'm planting my feet and I'm planting my feet in the mud there and saying I'm right about that. Like, the booking is the heel. Like, it's so... Like, remember WrestleMania? We came back, oh, we're a live crowd again. Happy, happy feeling, and it's WrestleMania. That's when most good guys finally get theirs, and most things are paid off, most feuds are blow off, yada yada. And then WrestleMania had the 2 men's champions, Lashley and Roman, 2 monster heels win clean. One of the monster heels stacked 2 beloved baby faces on top of each other and just win clean. Like, why do we hate joy? Can we just have a good moment? Every good moment's got to be tainted. And this is the moment where someone in the company says, well, it's really tainted by the fans complaining. Well, yeah, because you can't not shit on something with you guys. You can't. Becky could have beat Bianca, seriously, in 5 minutes. Not a big deal. As long as they have a back and forth, show Bianca's competitive. Maybe Bianca even hits Becky with more than Becky hits. Becky's finish was the armbar thing to disarm her. Actually, that's clever. I like that. Doesn't have to submit Bianca. I think it's too early for that. They could have just done 5-6 minutes of trading some moves, some back and forth. Bianca makes one mistake. It doesn't have to be it could be a roll up, this kind of thing. It doesn't have to be. But something that shows, listen, Becky she's still a bit more cunning than Bianca at this stage in the game. Bianca could just overpower her, throw around a bit, and then we can start off. Becky can get on her a little bit. Becky gets caught. Becky gets overpowered. A little bit of a comeback. Becky gets stopped. We could do a roll up or something, and 1, 2, 3. There you go. And honestly, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. There's always going to be it should have been 20 minutes. No, they shouldn't all be 20 minutes. That's one of my gripes with AEW fans. No, it shouldn't. Most of your favorite wrestlers that you think should be wrestling 20 minutes should not be wrestling for 20 minutes on TV. Give us a taste. We didn't get a taste. barely got a lick. We got nothing. I don't think it did Becky any favors in the long run. It was fine for tonight, but it's really bad for tomorrow. And tomorrow always comes, unless you're dead. We have some Olympic wrestlers, Gage and Gable, Steve. Oh fuck, I don't know. 2 Olympic wrestlers waved, said hello. Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre. Oh, after each of them takes 3 days to get to the ring. Jinder Mahal loses to Drew in like 5-6 minutes with a Claymore, which is fine, but the crowd was out of it. I think they were exhausted from Becky and just didn't. And also, no one cared about this feud. We just got endless hours of TV time for this feud, and again, it shouldn't have been. Again, it should have been a 20-minute match. I'm not complaining that it wasn't a 20-minute match, but it just felt like Jinder looked half asleep to me, which I'm sorry to say. He looked out at like not. He looked out of sort. And Drew kind of looked like he had somewhere better to be too, quite frankly. And it wasn't a good spot. It was very forgettable. I mean, from the beginning, with the motorcycle and the sword and all that, I think Drew. We kind of knew this was a keep Drew busy feud, keep Drew away from Lashley feud. It was really give Drew something to do feud. And he waves the sword, and at the end of the match, and I'm glad when he waved the sword, like he waved it sideways and not up and down, like bouncing off the top rope, because if the sword cut through the top rope, that would be really bad, but kind of hilarious and the same thing. Oh, we do this 3-way, finally. I feel like this match has been going on for 2 months, the way that Raw has looked. Raw Women's Championship, Nikki Ash defends against Rhea Ripley against Charlotte Flair. I just wrote long with an exclamation. I took a nap in the middle of this match, I'm not kidding. I fell asleep, I woke up, it was still going on. I really just seen the 3 of them only wrestle each other for months now, and this didn't really. I think the people felt the same way. You could just tell the sound was out of them. They were just, is it over yet? And of course, all our underdog baby faces, or even our hero baby faces, our almost hero baby faces, have to lose clean and be as neutered as much as possible. The plucky underdog who's never going to give up and believe in herself taps out clean to Charlotte's finisher. Charlotte Flair is once again the women's champion. Fine, I'm fine with Charlotte anytime Charlotte's the champion, but who's her opponent is the real question. I love Rhea Ripley, we all do. I feel like we've seen nothing but Rhea and Charlotte for like all year, pretty much. It's been a couple of months, and I believe Rhea and Drew need to go to SmackDown, and somebody else needs to trade with them. I don't know who. Big E should go to Raw. I mean, the woman on Raw. I don't know who. Honestly, I don't know the answer to that. Build someone. How about that? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Yeah, I got nothing to add. It wasn't bad, but it had a bad get it over with vibe. Seth Rollins versus Edge. A lot of people liked this match. I liked it as well. Edge gave us. let me go back. I like Seth Rollins' new entrance and music, or maybe it's not that new. I just haven't seen it because I only get to watch clips of SmackDown on YouTube. This is way better than a Monday Night Messiah. He looks like he's having more fun. I don't know what it is he's doing or what the character is. I can't describe it. But he looks like he's having more fun and coming off more naturally. His stuff in the last couple of months. I don't know if he's wearing the black gloves still. I think he wasn't. But whatever he's doing in the last couple of months, it's way better. And I'm enjoying it. He feels a little fresh again. So, good. Good for Seth Rollins. Edge does the old Brood entrance. The people went bananas. Shame. You couldn't really. If for anyone who's like, why wasn't Gangrel there? Well, here's the thing. If Gangrel's there, then you need Christian there, and obviously Christian's with the other company. So, and also, old wrestlers are not, like, on call. Like, maybe they have lives, or maybe they're retired. Sometimes they want nothing to do. I think Gangrel does indies. I'm sure he would have gladly done it. But you can't just snap your fingers and grab one for wherever you need to be at any given time. It doesn't really work that way. For all we know, maybe the Brood entrance was a very last-minute thing. I don't know. Maybe they planned it forever. No fucking idea. it was a cool thing, and everyone just kind of always liked it, and they never get to see it, so they just kind of vibed out to the thing. It was kind of cool. And then it trades because halfway through the aisle, because the aisle's so long, Edge goes to his regular song, and people pop again. Great to see Edge have a cool, like a regular one-on-one wrestling match in front of a live crowd, which I think this is the first time he's had a singles match in front of a live crowd since his return. Him and Seth have this match, and I gotta tell you, I'll be honest, because everyone's loving it. I wasn't feeling it early on, and I know better than a lot of most podcasters. So many great matches have to start slow and build, and that's fine. I've heard people complain. Michaels and Angle at that Mania in 2005. Well, but it's good, but it starts kind of slow. Well, no, you idiots. It's supposed to. It's got to build to somewhere. That's why I love the Mania 12 Iron Man match so much. Hey, Shawn Michaels is a factor in those. This one was the same way. But I understand it has to start slow. But with that said, I kind of thought they were having trouble getting him. Like something didn't feel quite right until it did. Where we got two amazing workers in a ring. I mean, obviously Seth is moving around a lot faster than Edge, but Edge is still moving pretty goddamn good. Edge still looks great. He still sells. Their timing is awesome. Like everything's great about these guys, and they had them, and all the finishes back and forth. And I don't think they overdid it. They did enough of the false finishes, just knowing there's a couple of main events coming after you can't do 100 false finishes. I think they did just a good enough amount. They teased the importance of why Edge cannot take that stomp. And they didn't tease. They told that story in the match, and the announcers did a great job of telling the story as they were announcing as well. So that was good. I liked that was explained by both the wrestlers and the announcers. So visually, the live audience is starting to understand he can't get stomped, no matter what he did. So anytime Edge was in trouble, that's when he'd roll out of the ring. Jake Roberts was good at that. As a babyface, he had no problem rolling out of the ring when he was in danger, even as a face. He's like, no, it doesn't. It's still my neck. It made sense, and it gave a sense of urgency to things. Edge's doing the Beth Phoenix finish, the Glam Slam, I thought was really cool. Makes people happy, warm and fuzzies. And sometimes it's okay to have those, as long as you don't have a million of them. Then it's canned. But you could have some warm and fuzzies. It's okay to make the people feel good. It's like new comedians say someone's a crowd pleaser, but they say it with a snarky that goes. Oh, it was like a crowd pleaser. No, crowd pleasing and pandering are not the same thing. I'll check. Hold on a second. Edge wins the thing with a submission, which is odd. It was like a half crossface, half sleeper thing, which makes perfect sense. I've never seen that before. I don't know. Has he been using that on SmackDown against guys? I don't really know. But yeah, he did the spear, and I think Seth kicked out of the spear. And Seth did like a pedigree, caught him in a spear, and all this other stuff. This was very good. I thought that I thought they were having trouble in the beginning. Even though I know it's supposed to start slow. Let me say that again. But still, I thought this is. Because the show is getting long, and that's the thing. And they followed this three-way that I thought kind of slowed things down. Hey, speaking of slowing things down, this next segment, Edge wins. Well, that match gets 5 stars also. And the three-way with the women gets 5 stars. I'm going to give Becky and Bianca 5 stars as well. And I don't know what happened before that. I forget, but I gave it 5 stars. Ginger and Drew gets 5 stars. I'll explain the system later. It's not important right now. The Miz and John Morrison have a water truck that was filmed earlier today. Miz and Morrison come out to say there's a Dripstick 2000. Xavier Woods is in the audience wearing a water cooler on his back like a Ghostbuster. By the way, wearing a water cooler on your back is probably heavy as fuck. And Xavier Woods is talking with Razor Ramon for no reason with his hair slicked back, has a toothpick, and he sprays Miz and Morrison, and Miz and Morrison take bumps from being sprayed in the face with water because in 1999, because of a beer truck thing, and Austin sprayed everyone with beer. To this day, anytime a heel is hit with anything, any kind of liquid, they take a bump and try to imitate that and recapture. They never really do. I don't know what to say. There was some cheesy product placement here. It looked like all 3 wrestlers, and where was Kofi? Who cares? No, I love Kofi. I'm just saying, maybe better to not have your face on camera during this. All three wrestlers knew this was crap. You could tell watching them. Just look at them. None of them wanted to. Morrison and Miz, and even Woods, they tried. Woods, of all of the three of them, Woods looked like he did not want to be there, I think. So I bet you if Kofi, just knowing the way I am at shows I don't want to be at, if you're with one of your friends, it's way more fun. You try to make it work as well as you can. I bet you Woods and Kofi, if Kofi was there, Woods would not have had this look on his face like he would rather jump off a bridge than be in this segment. I don't know. I mean, clearly there was some product placement there. I forget the name of the truck they were driving, but it was something water. Something was going on there. It was like, oh, squeeze this in. But more Monday Night Raw bullshit. Okay, we got 2 main events left. One of them there's not much to say about. Lashley and Goldberg. Recap, of course. Goldberg still has to take 8 years with the entrance. They knock on his door. And he's such a dick. He spits on the floor in front of people who are walking next to him during a pandemic, of course. So, crowd turned on Goldberg. That's the thing. The pay-per-views, because those tickets are more expensive, you get more of the hardcores. And they let everything be known that they wanted Lashley to kick the shit out of Goldberg. Lashley pretty much did. This was not good. I hate saying the word botch has become so obnoxious now that all these internet marks just overuse it and think everything that doesn't look perfect is a botch. That's not really what that means. But there was some ugliness in this, and I don't mean ugliness as though hard hitting and not smooth, like ugly in a realistic good type of ugly. I mean this was like stuff was clearly being missed and not communicated because Goldberg doesn't wrestle. He's not a wrestler. And he gave Lashley these 2 slams. He basically did the Mark Henry finish, but so it didn't look like Lashley was landing well. Lashley climbed to the top rope, to take a slam off the top, which he only did so he can bump for Goldberg. And Lashley is not the guy who should be running around taking a lot of bumps for anyone. You can tell it's not usually what he does. Goldberg seemingly does not turn him all that much because Lashley lands on his shoulder really high and is ugly off the top rope. But I winced and I saw the referee go right to him and I just thought that's when I was like, no one should be wrestling Goldberg. Goldberg should be wrestling nobody. That's what should be happening right now. Don't like it one bit. So they do a thing where Lashley's just working on Goldberg's knee and beating the shit out of his knee, and MVP pokes Goldberg's knee with his cane there. And I thought that would just lead to a finish. But, they're setting up some rematches. The referee stops the match because Goldberg can't continue, fine. And I thought Lashley would just hook his hold on Goldberg, and that would be that. In a second, Goldberg's stupid son has to run to the ring. He jumps on Lashley's back. Lashley pulls him off, hits a full nose, hooks his hold on a 15-year-old. So Lashley assaults the child. But an MVP, this is really good. MVP, being a slick, business-minded manager, makes Lashley let go, and the MVP takes the mic and almost immediately and says, "Hey, there's no way Lashley could have known. There's no way the Almighty could have known that was a kid attacking him. He just got jumped from behind and he reacted. There's no way he could have known. He didn't know. He didn't know that was Goldberg's son. He just didn't know because somebody just ran into the ring from behind, which is a great defense. And MVP thought, like a quick thinking, shiesty manager would really slick. So yeah. Sorry, I'm getting some text here about the event. Just other people who watched it. So, yeah. So they set up a rematch, clearly, because then Goldberg hovers over his kid, and his kid, he's 15, so he doesn't know, so he's just laying there, like, eyes wide open, looking around. Like, not, your eyes should just be closed, just dead cell, just
especially when someone's that new and that uncomfortable in that environment, just tell them to dead still. Just close your eyes and go live. Just play dead. Just don't fucking. Thankfully, he didn't smile or anything, but he wasn't talking. He just had his eyes open, like just kind of stiff. And at least Goldberg kind of hovered over him, so and the camera did cut away too. So that clearly sets up a rematch. So we're gonna see Goldberg cutting more promos, yay, because that's what we all want to see. Where are the officials? The bell rings. Lashley is laying Goldberg out with a chair long before the kid runs in the ring. Lashley's laying. There's no other referees. No, nothing. 18. Goldberg comes to the ring with 6 security guards, right? Where are those guys when Lashley's hitting him with a chair? I have to pause this. Excuse me one second. And I am back. Let me make sure I'm recording. Thanks. Sorry, I had to address something over there. These things happen, Bob Squad. For you, it all went by in a flash. Okie dokie. Goldberg has 18 security guards. After the match, he's beat with a chair 15 times, and his son who's 15, gets beat up by a monster. Does he only pay them for half the night? For not even half the night? They don't work for him the whole day? No, nothing? Where the fuck where are the WWE referees and security? I don't know. Roman Reigns and John Cena is next. Finally, we're near the end of this. Wow, this is long. They have a lovely pro wrestling match. Absolutely lovely. This is my favorite match of the night. No offense to Edge and Seth Rollins, which was also very good. But Roman and Cena, big fight feel, felt important. 2 colossal stars. Live crowd was awake because at this point we're like 3 hours and 40 minutes into the show. I love the slow stick. Again, I love the slow starting with the headlocks and the tackles and making those mean something and telling the story in between those things with the way Roman and Cena react. Roman dominates Cena early on for really the first half and then some. Cena eventually comes back and Cena's teasing all those roll-ups. The announcers did get on my nerves early on. Over-explaining this 1, 2, 3 thing John Cena's been doing. Well, all I gotta do is get you for 1, 2, 3. Like, okay, we get it. So the announcers over-explained that a 2 count does not defeat the person, but a 3 count does. We know. We're wrestling fans. If I've only been watching pro wrestling for 4 hours, and Summerslam is the first wrestling show I've ever seen in my life, it's the first time I've heard of pro wrestling. By this point, I know that you have to pin someone for 3 and 1 and 2 and 2.5 doesn't count. Why are you telling me this? I watched the program. We understand. But they don't think we understood. And this reminded me very much, oddly enough, of John Cena and Brock Lesnar in 2014. Where out of nowhere, John Cena does the attitude adjustment through the table and everything else, and Roman Reigns does the drive-by and a security punch, and Roman breaks up the first "you can't see me" or the first thing with the guillotine, and then he takes the second 5-knuckle shuffle attempt and all that stuff. And they go back and forth to finishes, and again, not overdone. Just it wasn't like like those a couple of years in a row at WrestleMania was 18 of those false finishes. But yeah, Reigns does kick out of the AA and the Super AA off the top rope, which is so impressive. Cena's so goddamn strong still. And and eventually Roman. I thought Roman was going to give Cena the old guillotine, let him go to sleep thing, like he did with Cesaro and Bryan and all that. No, Roman pinned him with a spear. People were still going along with Roman. They were going doing the ooh ah thing. The only little nitpick, they did the trading punches, boo yay spot, and I thought it was kind of antiquated. It was very 5 years ago. It felt so. Roman beats him. Didn't see much from Paul Heyman here. Didn't really need to. Usually we didn't get many shots of Paul Heyman. Usually we get all these shots of his reactions. We didn't really see a lot of those. So okay. The stipulation, by the way, I forgot to mention this. Last minute, I guess on SmackDown they added a stipulation. Roman said if he loses, he'll leave WWE. Like that. That stipulation to me hurt the match. Because we already know Roman's winning the damn thing. But if you didn't need another slap in the face reminder, Cena is definitely not winning this, it's adding this ridiculous stipulation that Roman's going to leave or even pretend to leave for any period of time. It's kind of silly. We didn't need it. Out of nowhere, Brock Lesnar's music hits. He's got a beard and a ponytail thing going on and whatever. Still looks terrifying. The place goes bananas. Paul pulls Roman pretty much out of the ring, but Roman steps out of the ring on his own. Place loses their shit because both Becky Lynch and Brock Lesnar have these surprise returns. I'm sure Lesnar's and Lynch's return might have been last minute because of Sasha, but I bet you Lesnar's return was probably in the works for a bit because Lesnar, you got all these deals and all this money you got to pay him. I don't think Lesnar's the kind of guy who just says, "Okay, I'll fly there tomorrow and we'll talk about it later." No. So I'm sure a lot of work was involved to keep Lesnar there or get Lesnar there. So I guess that's what they're setting up, Lesnar and Roman. So the place went bananas because that's what everyone's curious about. What about Paul Heyman? Where's he going to go? We used to manage Brock Lesnar. Now he's managing Roman Reigns. Blah, blah, blah. Lovely pro wrestling match with Roman and Cena. I really, really enjoyed it. If I had unlimited time, I'd watch it again. But there's just too much shit to watch this week. Like I said, I'm going to that Raw in a couple of days. Was it good? I don't know. The show, it wasn't. It had surprises. It just moved so slowly. The extra long entrances with the double long aisle, and then the packages, and these that wonderful Becky Lynch return, and then they have to hurt. It's not that Becky. I don't even care that Bianca. I don't care that Becky beat Bianca for the title on the spot. I don't even care about that. It's fine. Not a big deal. It gives us something. They needed to replace the missing star power of Sasha Banks, and a returning star is even better than a star who's always there. So they did, and it was an awesome surprise. And I guess if Becky and Bianca are standing there, you can't go on with Bianca just beating Carmella. So you had to have that match, and you can't have Becky lose it. So Becky has to show up and beat Bianca. Couldn't give us 5 minutes. 5. They couldn't say, here's. I know you can't have your cake and eat it too. Well, you know what? Sometimes in wrestling, at these big events, you're supposed to. Actually, believe it or not. Interesting tease for Lesnar and Roman. Where is it going? Do I want to see it? Here's the other thing. If Heyman and Roman are on one side, Lesnar doesn't talk. So how's that happening? One of the first things I thought of. Who's going to be doing the talking in this? I know Lesnar and I know Heyman and Roman. Roman can talk. Roman talks very well, but who's talking for the babyface? Lesnar ain't talking. I don't know. Doesn't matter. He's not going to make many appearances anyway, but still. Okay, that was SummerSlam. I'll join you as soon as I humanly can for NXT TakeOver 36. I thank you all for listening to this extra long show, this extra long podcast of reviewing an extra long show on the hardest part of the ring. It's the hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da.